I've got lots of color choices in my bag. I can. Oh, it's not even in my bag.
Look at that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because you might, if it's better one, you'll have better.
Right?
I just,
Or did he go home? He may have just said, I'm going home.
Nope, he's coming.
The sound study will be done in 2 months or less, right? That's what I put in that email after.
Give it a shot.
I cut it
Regular.
based on what he had.
That is a very sharp haircut you got there.
I complimented him on that yesterday.
I like that.
What was
The
that?
summer cut, like it's hot, you got
It's a good haircut.
Yeah.
fewer locks. In the winter though, good to have more.
you could log in.
Yeah, do you want to try it now with that login?
Totally up to you. I don't care. Whatever you want.
Nobody's watching. No pressure.
You already started.
I think Kelly's got a haircut too though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very,
Working my way.
dream haircut.
I trained, not I trained, I asked my son.
What? That went a different direction I thought you were going.
You know, getting one because
Mia Farrow during her Rosemary's
I
Baby
mean, it could have
days.
been like, Tinkerbell, she's got a
You let me
picture
know,
cut
uh-oh.
too, right? Or, but
Yeah, but
Mia Farrow from Rosemary's Baby?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
that's-
not all created equal.
Maybe we stop talking about the devil's baby.
Yeah, this is, yeah, we now Rosemary's Baby and now the screen's flickering. My goodness.
So maybe we stop talking about the devil's baby.
Yeah,
the screen
yeah,
stop moving.
exactly. My goodness.
There we go.
Wow.
When you are confident, let me know. Because
Basically.
not that the media is here to see our failures,
Oh,
our technical failures, all over the
goodness, we're
media
all over the
room.
board here.
Check the AV cable.
Yeah,
The AV cable that plugs into the computer.
I don't have a new haircut, just for the record. In fact, I'm slightly overdue from a monthly haircut. Got some hair touching my ears. Not crisp and
It's
trim
done.
like
Better.
the
Quit.
chairman. This particular body.
No,
Someone just has to sit
someone's
and
gonna have
hold
to sit
it.
there and hold it.
Yep.
Do we have a volunteer?
Oh,
So they'll transition to the laptop?
No, it won't matter if it's this,
Cable.
if it's the cable that connects
Or the
that to the
connection.
projector.
not just
Maybe it's connected to the, oh, it's better now.
It's just loading the PowerPoint.
So we could start.
When's the last time?
Okay, as long as the people that want to monitor can monitor. Okay. It's 6:05 PM on Thursday, August 7th, 2025. This is the City of Franklin Plan Commission. Mr. Martinez, would you please take the roll?
Mayor Nelson,
Here.
Commissioner Pett,
Here,
Commissioner Struggle,
Here.
Commissioner Haley,
Here.
Alderman Select,
Here.
Alderwoman Day,
Here.
Mayor Leo.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item B, approval of the minutes, approval of the regular meeting minutes of July 17th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Move to pass. Second.
Any further discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving into letter C1, I'll make an announcement on how this will move forward for C1, the Franklin High School conditional use. So what we're going to do with C1 is we're going to have the public hearing, but as we've discussed further in prior meetings, we're going to hold off on any action until August 21st at that Plan Commission meeting. So there'll be a public hearing tonight. The public hearing will remain open. So that means on the 21st of August, the public hearing will continue and then it'll close. There will be discussion and there'll be action on all the school items on that date. So with that, Mr. Martinez, do you want to read C1 and go into action?
Notice the public hearing.
I don't think it's on.
Notice of public hearing, City of Franklin Plan Commission, Thursday, August 7, 2025, at the Common Council Chambers of Franklin City Hall, 9229 West Loomis Road. Applicant is Andrew Cromie, Franklin Public Schools, property located at 8222 South 51st Street, Franklin, Wisconsin. Proposal is a conditional use permit request to allow for the approval of an extension to a Franklin High School facility, including a building addition and site improvements consisting of tennis courts, a soccer field, drive, parking additions, an access drive to Highview Drive, a press box, concession buildings, a storage building, greenhouse, and associated utility and stormwater management improvements. Table 15304C of the Unified Development Ordinance allows educational facilities as a conditional use in the institutional district. This public hearing is being held pursuant to the requirements of Division 15906E of the Unified Development Ordinance for conditional use permits. A map of the affected property, all application materials, and proposed ordinance are available at the Department of City Development. The public is invited to attend the public hearing and to provide input. The proposed ordinance is subject to revisions following public hearing and further consideration by the Plan Commission and the Common Council.
Okay, thank you. So again, folks, I'm going to open up the public hearing. This discussion will be only on this item. And then, like I say, that'll be remain open. So on the 21st of August, that will continue. So there's further discussion, presentation, and action. So with that being said, it is 6:09 p.m. I will open the public hearing at this time. Anybody wishing to speak, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and perfect. And then just, I'll be the timekeeper, try to do 3 minutes or less. You may want to tap this to make sure it's working.
Hello, hello, hello. Is it working?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Robin Perriard, and I've been living in Franklin for 30 years, real close to the high school. And
Address
as
for the record?
4750 West Forest Hill Avenue.
Thank you.
And as it stands right now, over these past years, you know, you always know when there's a football game because it's loud. It's loud because the announcer is trying to make it fun for the kids, and I totally get that. It's the same thing with all the activities, the bands, and things like that. It can be extremely loud, and it's often. And during the days, then of course it's the band playing, and so it is kind of a nuisance. But in all these years, we've always thought, well, the kids, it's important. You know, band class is meaningful. All those kinds of things. With this new addition, and this is as the neighborhood exists right now, there's a hazard to children already with the young teen drivers going up and down 47th and 51st Streets. And I see that already as a problem. Extending anything with parking lots and things like that means more teen drivers on these roads where these young kids are. There's a lot of kids in that neighborhood. As far as the wetlands and all these things, when our understanding is that that's a protected land. And this is one of the key reasons why people purchase those properties. That's a wetlands. It's supposed to be protected by law and covenants, which I don't really, all I know is that that's what it is. I don't know if you have a permit for that. I'd like to know if you do or how that goes. We also have, I would invite any of you to come and actually sit through when they're doing these announcements of these games at one of these houses. It really is loud. The thing about the pickleball and tennis is that, I don't begrudge these kids sports, lacrosse especially. My son's a lacrosse player, right? But there is a lacrosse field that they've had all this time, and there is no real need for pickleball in my view. And if you do that, because of the loud noise, pickleball is quite loud, why don't they build, which I'm against all this, but if they were, why would you not have that surrounded so that the sound would not be going off all the time? It's going to be all day sound school, and then in the evenings or whenever these games are, there's going to be more. So obviously we're homeowners, we're against it. Our property values are all going to drop. People are starting to put signs out already. Our neighbor down the street, it's been 30 years here in Franklin, and it's a sad day because this harkens me back to when the rules didn't mean anything in Franklin for that meat packing company. They were going to be zoned one way, and then they tried to zone it under previous leadership a different way. And, when those people bought those houses, they were told this is a residential area. And then it was like, well, guess what? Hey, City of Franklin, we just changed the rules up on you, and we're going to build this big, I think it was a meat processing plant. And so it just really seems to me that, when you have these agreements and you make these covenants for the nature, that you should stand to them. And it's a beautiful area. 8 acres of woods to be taken down. It has a whole host of other problems, but 8 acres, it makes it a really nice place. And like I say, if you extend that street on 47th Street, now you've got a whole big safety hazard. I've seen it many times where kids are running out in the street on the corner and
3:15, ma'am.
okay, you've got all the kids lined up already every single day to get their rides. It's the whole neighborhood consists of the high school now. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Todd Lehman. I'm the head boys tennis coach at Franklin High School. I also, for the last few years, have been an assistant for the girls program. And I've been reading things on social media about the tennis program, and I just wanted to give you some factual information in case you're unaware of what we do here at Franklin High School. This year, the boys program, which just completed the season in the spring, we were the Southeast Conference champions, and for the first time in school history, we won our sectional and qualified for Team State. At Team State, we competed against the sectional winners from the 7 other sectionals across the state, kind of put us in the top 8 in the state. Pretty big accomplishment for the boys. They did a great job. The last Division I state rankings that came out prior to Team State had Franklin boys ranked number 16 in the state. So we are not, as some people on social media would like to have you believe, a small program that's unaccomplished that consists of 18 kids. Okay, we are much bigger than that. We are an ascending program. We got a girls program that's qualified for Team State for a number of years over the last probably 5. They're an excellent program as well. We had a girl probably coming up on 5 years now that was the individual state champ from Franklin High School. So we have some pedigree, and we've been able to do this without tennis courts. So it's been quite an accomplishment. Just think what we could have accomplished had we been able to have courts on the school campus. It is a big deal. Last season, the boys had 32 players. Last fall, the girls had 50 plus. So we're looking at 82 players. So it is a big program. I believe now, and I know things have changed here in Franklin, but there used to be tennis courts located at different parks around the area. A lot of those have been converted to pickleball courts. There's a growing demand for pickleball. I get it. Not that I'm against pickleball, but it reduces the ability of my boys and some of the girls to also just go out and play tennis in Franklin. They got to go out to neighboring communities to try to find courts, which isn't the easiest thing, and it requires a lot of gumption on their part just to call up kids and get carpools and drive over to a neighboring community just to sit and wait to possibly play tennis one night. So, you know, having courts is a big deal for us. And of the, I believe there's probably 6 total courts that remain in Franklin at 3 different sites. At best, I would describe those 6 courts as in disrepair. Unsafe is probably the way I would describe them. Our high school team currently rents out courts at the Greendale Village Club, which isn't ideal for us. That means all my freshmen need rides to practice and need to get picked up from practice. Carpools, you know, even for our sophomores and juniors exist.
3 minutes, sir.
Yep. So it's not an ideal situation. When we hold practices, we need probably roughly 10 courts. And I know that the plan as it's presented now has 10 courts. When you have more than 10, you got kids standing around, practices become unproductive, you don't get the most out of your players. So 10 courts is bare minimum of what we would need. When you have a meet on a day.
Sir, you're at 3:30. And it's 3 minutes. That's our goal. We've given you 30 more seconds.
Okay, 30 more seconds. I appreciate that.
Oh, we've given you 30, so. That's fine. Just keep going.
Keep going. Okay.
Finish your point, please, sir.
We need at least 10 courts. And there's reasons for that. When you play another team, you need at least 7 courts. And then you have a JV match that follows. If you don't have 10 courts, you're there till 7:30 at night, bottom line. So my daughters all played. I'm well aware of everything that's gone on in Franklin probably for the last 10 years in tennis. These courts are long overdue, and this community investment is long overdue as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Nicole Schlacks. Address is 8213 South 47th Street. I'm speaking today to voice serious concern over 2 interconnected issues: the proposed clearing of the forested area near Franklin High School and the potential creation of a public through street on what is now a quiet residential road. Both proposals present significant environmental and community risks, and I urge them to be reconsidered. Regarding the forest clearing, the original referendum approved by voters referenced only the construction of tennis courts. It did not include the development of a practice field in the forested area. This late-stage addition appears to be an attempt to retroactively justify the removal of mature trees and disruption of protected land. The current plan to clear the forest for a temporary construction zone with the vague and short-term use of a practice field as justification does not align with what residents voted for or were promised. Worse still, this rationale feels disingenuous when 2 existing practice fields just to the north remain underused or entirely unused. Rather than maximizing the potential of those existing spaces, the school appears poised to destroy forested land that has long been valued by the surrounding community, land that residents believed would remain protected under the original conservation agreement made in perpetuity. To clear the forest for a 3-year construction site under the guise of eventually using the land to create a practice field would be an irreversible loss for our environment and a betrayal of the community's trust. It is not responsible planning, nor is it reflective of the values we expect from our school leadership. While I was agreeable to a small section of the western forest being utilized for the tennis courts, as proposed in the rendering shared this past June, it has since become clear that the school now intends to clear the entire forest. I would have supported a compromise where the tennis courts were placed in a portion of the western edge paired with a renewed conservation agreement to protect the remaining forests and maintain a significant wooded buffer between the tennis courts and the properties lining 47th Street. However, it has become evident that the school has no intention of preserving any part of the woods. What they've presented as concessions included moving the courts slightly farther from my property line, not to preserve more trees, but to create room for future tennis courts, as shown in the updated imagery and stated directly by the superintendent at the public listening session this past Tuesday. This signals not compromise, but expansion at the forest's expense. This forest provides essential environmental, recreational, and community value. It supports local wildlife, helps mitigate flooding and erosion, and offers a natural escape within our city. Many residents, including myself, who moved here last November, made our home here based on the understanding that this land was protected. To go back on that agreement, again, made in perpetuity, would erode community trust and permanently damage an irreplaceable ecosystem. As for the proposed through street on Highview Avenue, this too raises major
3 minutes.
concerns. I'll be quick. Highview and 47th Street are residential roads with many families and children. Converting Highview into a through street for public access, not just for emergency vehicle access, raises serious safety concerns. Increased traffic would threaten pedestrian safety, especially for children and those walking or biking. Additionally, we understand that no traffic study has been conducted by the school, which is extremely concerning and frankly irresponsible given the impacts such a change could have on traffic flow, congestion, and safety. In summary, I respectfully urge the Planning Commission to reject the forest clearing and maintain the original conservation agreement, uphold the original referendum intent, which did not include a practice field, reject the creation of a through street on Highview Avenue unless a full transparent traffic study is completed. Thank you for your attention to this matter and for your service to our community.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Jan Yeager. I live at 7916 South 47th Street, and I was one of the original owners to this subdivision before the second one was in. Our first house that we put a bid in was on that protected land, and the developers did say that that was protected and that those trees would stay. Unfortunately, our house didn't sell, and we got bumped, and we ended up purchasing a different house in that subdivision, and we're at the end of the block. I speak not only for myself, but the Sweets that live across the street from me that were unable to make it today, and they plan on writing the commission and the mayor about this matter. My concern is the conservation and the trees, as what was eloquently spoken just a couple of minutes ago, because of what we were told by the original developers. But my main concern right now is having that road come through on Highview. I called district this week. They told me, oh, well, I know that that parking lot wasn't proposed right away, at least not to go through there. But don't worry, it's only 70 cars. It's for the teachers. I said, well, how are you going to stop the students from going through? Because since you put that roundabout in, there's enough students that come around the circle and race down the street when school's out because they want to avoid the roundabout. And we have kids there, we have older people that are walking there with their pets, and it's a nuisance right now. Now, if you open that street, I said, what are you going to do? He said, well, we'll monitor it. I said, how are you going to monitor? You're going to have somebody stand there every day? Well, if we find the kids do this, we'll take their parking pass away. There's no one that's going to monitor that. That is going to reduce property values. That is going to be a nuisance. It's going to cause a lot of cars racing down the street that we already have now, and it's going to double it. He said, well, we've got teachers living in a subdivision. How many people here are teachers that teach at the high school?
Hey, ma'am,
that live in
just
that
right here.
subdivision? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Crystal clear.
So I have never come to a hearing. I've lived there 31 years. I have never spoken about anything, but this is passionate to me. This is our neighborhood. This is where we live. We don't want it to be another Drexel. I already have Drexel on one side of my house. I don't want my street to be the same way. And my husband feels the same way. Unfortunately, he wasn't here today because he suffers from things from Vietnam, which is another whole story. So I'm here on behalf of him, myself, and the neighbors in our neighborhood who just want to live in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I didn't read the rules of decorum. because it's normally good. Hi, ma'am. So what I'm being told right now, which is I normally read the rules of decorum at every single common council meeting, which talk about basically the behaviors of what's acceptable and not acceptable, which is called rules of decorum for citizen comment period. And one of the sections is about outbursts and clapping. So we understand the passion. We appreciate it. It's duly noted, but we just do it to kind of keep things flowing. And so ma'am, if you want to come back up, talk, that's great. And then whoever is on deck, we kind of want to move this along. So thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Witzak. I live at 7961 South 47th Street. I was here several weeks ago when we were talking about this, and I know that there are a lot of things that can't change or won't change, but I do have two concerns that no matter what happens, I really want to make sure that are on the record, because if I have to come back, I will say that they brought concerns, two of them. One is the driving on 47th Street. There are a lot of cars that just take that way anyway during the school year and race up the hill to then get in the line to drop their kids off. It's, nothing's been studied. We don't have any speed bumps on the street. We don't ever have a speed sign to say, hey, you're speeding on our street. And so if it does become a through street, that could increase the traffic. And then my other concern is with all the construction, I really want to make sure that we talk about where the water is going. And if all of the forest is going to be taken down, that we definitely have the right drainage system set up. The last time I was here, I did talk about that I do get water in my basement. It's an inch, and we can deal with it. We've changed our basement because of it. But if this goes in and the drain tiles aren't set correctly, or there's not enough retaining pond, and I have several inches or feet in my basement, I will be coming back to you. So I just really want to make sure that as you move forward, whichever is decided, that is something that is watched and maintained, and another maybe review happens after the construction takes place to make sure all the neighbors are not affected by, this going in or different construction, but how it's changing our land. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Ethan Schlax, and I reside at 8213 South 47th Street. I would like to address several concerns with the plans proposed by the school board regarding the referendum, particularly with the woods in the southeast corner of the property that is protected by a conservation agreement. When the referendum was voted on and passed, the plans only showed a small section of the woods that would need to be cleared out to make space for tennis courts. The renderings showed that a significant buffer of trees between the tennis courts and the neighboring residences, including ours. In late June 2025, we were made aware of new plans proposed by the school board. We were only made aware of the new plans when a neighbor observed someone marking the trees along the property lines of the residences on South 47th Street. Only then were we shown new plans that included the entire removal of the woods, much different than what was originally proposed. After being made aware of this, new renderings were revealed that showed tennis courts extending within 30 feet of our property line, as well as a practice soccer field to the south of the tennis courts. There was no mention of plans for a practice field in the referendum when it was voted on. At the listening session with the school board this past Monday, we were told that a current practice field is being removed due to the addition of the new field house. We were told that studies were conducted to show the need for an additional practice field, but were unable to explain exactly what studies were done to come to that determination. I asked about alternative options for the practice field and tennis courts, and if those explored options were documented, including an explanation as to why the alternative options would not be feasible. I was told that if there was documentation of the alternative options that were explored, they could be found on the Franklin Ford FAQ page. They were not. I do not believe that the school board has actually explored any other reasonable alternatives. Also at the listening session, we were shown the video of the timeline of construction throughout the project. The first thing that is being done, set to begin this month, is to clear out the entire woods to be prepped as a construction site. I believe that the school board is trying to use that land as a way to save money for the construction, as they are now able to store construction equipment and supplies on the property. I believe the school board knows that this is not a justifiable reason to remove the conservation agreement and clear out the entire woods, so they are trying to use the supposed need for a fourth field on the property as the reason to clear out the woods. This is unacceptable. Moving on to the decision to open Highview Drive to a new staff parking lot and tennis parking lot. This new road will allow access as a through street from South 47th Street to South 51st Street. This is highly concerning as the additional traffic flow through a residential neighborhood creates unnecessary risks to the residents of the neighborhood, especially children. When concerns about this new street were raised at the listening session, the school's response was simply, "We don't think that will happen." When asked about conducting a traffic study to properly assess the effect that this new road would have in the area, the response was that it would cost $10,000 and therefore not worth it. I believe that out of a $145 million referendum, using $10,000 to conduct a traffic study would be well worth the cost to obtain the data to be able to implement the safest possible solution for the community and our neighborhood. At a meeting in July 2025, many concerns were raised regarding the location and placement of the tennis courts, specifically with the close proximity to the property lines with the residences on South 47th Street. The school board was advised to come up with modifications to the
3
plan
minutes,
to
sir.
better fit the original rendering proposed in the referendum. The school board's only modification was to shift the 10 tennis courts slightly to the west, creating more green grass space between the courts and the property lines. And while this sounds like a promising compromise, it quickly lost all of its appeal when the new green grass space that they plan to create by moving the tennis courts further west would now be reserved to be potential future tennis courts, therefore creating the exact problem that they compromised to fix. This is a slap in the face to our neighborhood and shows that the school board does not care to compromise to a reasonable solution. In conclusion, the neighborhood feels deceived and unheard by the school board. While I cannot speak for everyone, I know that many people in our neighborhood voted to approve the referendum, which again only included tennis courts in a small section of the woods, far away from our property line. Our intent from the beginning was to support the installment of the tennis courts, as it was reflected in the original referendum rendering.
Sir, you're at 3:40. Really got to move along.
That's
Please.
the end of my points. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And don't forget, everybody, remember, August 21st, we're going to still have the opportunity to talk again so that this will remain open. So if you want to talk tonight and want to talk then, great, or just tonight or back then, but just so you know how this is going to work. Hello, young lady.
Hello. My name is Diane Ketchkowski. I don't live in that neighborhood. I do live by Robinwood, 10623 Beacon Hill Court West. I, too, was at the meeting on Monday. I personally think that the school did a great job explaining how they moved the tennis courts down and listening and answering questions. Some of the concerns that were brought up at that meeting were, what about the trees? Franklin has a plan to replace some trees. Maybe not in that area, but they do have a plan. What about the traffic? The same people that said they were concerned about the traffic said there's already traffic there for football games. And I actually spoke up and I told them that traffic from a tennis match is not going to be the same as even close to the football game. Some people said they bought their house because of this conservation easement. There are 13 homes across the, there's 13 homes that have been purchased along the school lot line since signing the easement. Only 7 of those are along the tree lines that are deemed to be torn down. Some say this isn't what I voted for. I want to change my vote. There's 35 homes, I counted today, 35 homes along the school's lot lines. If there are 2 people in each home that voted, that's 70 votes. The referendum passed by over 1,800 votes. These 70, with no disrespect, wouldn't change even if we revoted. Additionally, if Franklin gave a choice of taking down trees or building an entirely new high school at a cost of another $150 million, I, with most certainty, think that Franklin would vote for removing the trees. I think the school district is being very reasonable and trying to work with the families in this neighborhood. At least that was the impression I got, and so did the other tennis moms and dads. I'm not sure that you're going to make them happy, but I really think that the tennis team needs this. The coaches have worked really hard. My son's a tennis coach or a tennis player. And unfortunately, my son won't even reap the benefits of this because it won't be done until 2028. So I'm here on behalf of future students and all the students of Franklin to say we really need this and our kids deserve it. And I think you should allow them to amend the easement.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
My name is Jakob Waterman. I live on 8243 South 47th Street. I lived there for a little under 10 years, and the amount of times I've seen deers frolicking in our backyards is like countless. I think I urge everyone here to take a walk through the trails in that forest because it's really a beautiful area. I think taking down those trees is going to hurt the wildlife. It's going to hurt our environment. It's just overall really bad for the nature of the city. I don't know. That's all I really got to say.
Thank you, sir. Oh, just about to close.
Brenda Peterson, 8255 South 47th Street. Thank you for listening to us tonight. I really appreciate it. Also, thank you for following through with what you said on July 27th and pending any decisions and hearing more people on August 21st like we were told on the 17th. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to call out just a few and then hopefully follow up email with the rest of them. I want to remind you all, you took an oath of office to faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of your ability, so help you God. The conservancy easement is not contingent on amendment filings. This means restrictions are in effect whether or not an amendment is being considered or actively working on. So I want to remind you that nothing should be done until really decisions are made, and otherwise there's a breach of that easement. I'm wondering why no one from this group attended the meeting on Monday night to at least just listen to our concerns.
Because I was at National Night Out.
Okay,
And
okay,
that was
great.
1,000 people at Franklin there. It was
Great.
wonderful.
Okay,
And then,
great.
but I will be at the 13th.
Great. I plan on being there as well, but I don't know if official minutes were taken. It seemed like someone was just jotting things down, and there was a lot said, and even a lot more people that were here tonight. I wonder if any of you saw the population study. I tried to look on the website today and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find many of the studies that they claimed they did. And then when I asked if we could get a copy of the study, she said, well, we discussed things. So I'd like to see more of studies that were done so we can be more informed of the decisions they're making. We were told that there was going to be no traffic study done. Alderwoman Day, you asked about a traffic study. It was because it was costing $10,000. What is the price of a child or an adult at getting hit on our streets when we are increased with traffic? And I'm sorry, Mr. Cromie said July 17th, in this very room, a road is a road, and that's wrong. A road is not a road. The city has to consider which roads and traffic safety and the safety for all of us involved. And not just the people that live on that street. There's people that use that street. Everyone should be. Dr. Bennon said she needed to consider the whole city as a whole, but on the letter I got, July 24th from them, said 3 people contributed at meetings. So I don't know that the whole entire city had opportunity. You sent us back to listen to the school and talk to them and have them change the plans. They changed the plans before we attended. So a lot more needs to happen before this final decision is made. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Tim Lethlean, 4304 West Minnesota Court. I have 2 children who attend Franklin High School. One is on the boys tennis team and also teaches, co-teaches the Park and Rec tennis lessons. I have a little bit of split emotion on this that I'd just like to share real quick because I definitely have concerns about car safety and traffic when around the start of the school day and the end of the school day. My kids drive to school, and every day I'm like, could you please take the bus? So I hope a compromise can be reached there. I do want to highlight that I have some safety concerns with tennis that has come up in the past year or two with us not having courts, which while Coach Lehman mentioned, renting courts from the Village Club, that's for our official practice time that we get with the coach there. And when the kids want the opportunity to practice outside of that, further in the evenings or on the weekends, they end up hunting around for courts. And we've had multiple occasions where my boy and others have been playing in the dark behind Greendale High School, at Whitnall High School. Honestly, I think there were a couple tournaments that developed out of this at 10 o'clock at night between other schools that probably, shouldn't have happened in the dark. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity to have courts where after practice.
It's the only one we got, don't break it.
Sorry. Our kids can stay and have a place to practice that's theirs and that they're not getting kicked out of. The gate isn't locked behind them right after practice. So I just have a concern that not having that opportunity for our kids to have a place is causing some other issues. So there's a lot of interest in tennis. The park and rec lessons have been full this year. In fact, I think there's even an attempt to add some lessons, tack them on in the next couple of weeks. So we've got a growing tennis interest around, and the pickleball court conversion, understand why it's a great thing, but yeah, it's created some pressure on the situation too. So thank you for hearing.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Billy Prochnow, 8229 South 47th Street. I'm going to keep this really quick because I feel like I've been up here a couple times already. I echo a lot of my neighbors' sentiments. What I wanted to say is that I really hate that I feel like it's become this neighbors versus the tennis people. And I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know who's being told that we're all like anti-tennis, but I'm fully in on the tennis courts. They can have their 10 tennis courts. That was in the original plans. I think most of us are fine with the tennis courts. We've got some maybe issues with pickleball all day on a Saturday, listening to it in our backyards, but whatever, I can live with it. But I don't feel like the tennis people should be being pitted against the neighbors. Let's do the tennis courts. Let's compromise. I gave the superintendent some suggestions at Monday's meetings that are the original plans, are a nice compromise. We're willing to work together. I just feel like the neighbors are really being like put out there as these like anti-school, anti-sports, and we're really wonderful people. We just don't want to see the woods torn down. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kristen Stanley. I live at 10728 South 92nd Street. Full disclosure, I am a newly consolidated Parks and Environmental Commission commissioner, but I'm here today because I'd like to make comments as a resident and a Franklin Public School parent. First of all, I'd like to say I'm glad we paused for the AV at the beginning of this meeting because I wasn't able to attend the last meeting and I listened in. It was very distorted and difficult to hear. And I know that the planning meeting isn't the only one that it's like that. So I would perhaps like to suggest that we upgrade this system to ensure transparency of city business, first off. Second, I'm excited to see what this school referendum is going to, that passed in November, will do for our community. We're already an outstanding school district as evidenced by our stellar tennis team and the loud Sabre pride at the football field. So I'm looking forward to see how this investment strengthens our entire city. We've been watching the developments at the middle school and it seems to be moving along and that's fantastic. My issue is with the updated plan at the high school, in particular the land use in the upper right north corner as it undermines a conservation easement. This is a legal instrument that our school and city agreed to 10 short years ago to permanently protect land from exactly this kind of development in the applicant's proposal. Proceeding with development over this land contradicts the spirit of that easement and pushes through environmental destruction under pressure from a school's building agenda. Easements are not temporary protections. They're legal agreements binding in perpetuity, which, look it up, is forever, right? Their whole purpose is to prevent exactly this kind of development, even when it's convenient for the project and even when it's popular by the tennis players and the other residents in the area. The referendum timeline is a man-made deadline and not justification to override environmental safeguards. Approving this project on land under conservation protection as it stands when we last looked at it could put us on a slippery slope in Franklin. If this easement can be bent or removed because it's inconvenient for a school expansion project, what stops future developers from doing the same in other areas of our city? It erodes our credibility and enforceability of all conservation easements in Franklin, and we need to follow the state regulations as well, which I know you know. I strongly oppose this natural resource special exemption or conditional use to be approved, particularly because it affects land that was protected under this conservation easement. That easement is a legal and moral contract with the public to preserve sensitive lands, wetlands, and woodlands for future generations, cross-country players, scientists, outdoor club, everyone.
3 minutes.
That's all I have to say. Go
Perfect
Sabres.
timing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else? Almost, I see it. Whoa, whoa, I see now they're coming on.
About that, Mr. Mayor. Willie Dusky, 7711 West Stonewood Drive here in Franklin. I represent the community at large. I don't live on 47th Street or Forest Hill or Beacon Hill or any of those areas around there. My kids did go through Country Dale, Forest Park, Franklin High School. You know, we love the school system. We love Franklin. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. Some of the folks in the room know that back in the day, I was a pretty good tennis player, and at my high school we did not have courts, and I was one of those vagabond tennis players who had to drive in the middle of the night in rural North Carolina to try to find a tennis court to play in, and so I'm very supportive as a former tennis player myself of the courts at the Franklin High School. The key is how many and where, and so. I'm fully supportive of putting in some tennis courts, maybe not 10, maybe not 12, but some, and some that don't disrupt that borderland between the tennis courts and the homeowner's property on 47th Street. As a licensed professional engineer, I have serious problems with bulldozing a forest flat to have a convenient spot to put construction equipment and materials. To me, that's treating a brownfield site as a greenfield site, and the greenfield site, it just happens to be a conservation area. That's a travesty to treat a conservation area as a greenfield construction site. It violates the spirit of the agreement, the conservation agreement. And honestly, the reason I did not vote for the referendum this past fall was not because I had anything against the school, but I was afraid exactly this question would come up. Not because of this present administration, but because the previous administration. And I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked that it has come to this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Hi, good evening, welcome.
Hi. Hi, my name is Vinod Suresh. I live in that neighborhood on the Forest Hill Avenue.
Your address, please, sir?
I'm on 4805 West Forest Hill Avenue.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I have concern around the change in the plans to get rid of that wood. I don't have issue in having that tennis court come up over there, but that additional amendments I have issue with. Right now, I feel that wooden area is acting as a buffer against like the noise and the light pollution that comes from the football game as far as where I am living. And also I have concern around the additional traffic that is going to come with all that parking lot and all that stuff that is coming out over there. So recently my wife got rear-ended in that area by a kid. So definitely touches me with the prospect of additional traffic that's going to come over there. And also with the recent additional rain, I've observed like water logging in the road. So I feel getting rid of the trees is going to affect the natural water balance over there. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barthel, good evening.
Hello, Robert Barthel, 8295 South 47th Street. The last time we met here with the Planning Commission, the school board was told to go back, make some changes that are more agreeable to the neighbors, and come back and we'll talk about it again. And I was sent a letter with their changes, and they're not changes. Shift the tennis courts further west on the school property to create more of a green buffer space on school property adjacent to the neighbor's property. But they said the quiet part out loud at our last meeting and said that that was to make room for more tennis courts. Second one was reviewed light pole heights to ensure there's no light pollution spilling into the neighbor's property and reviewed vegetative screening. I don't remember us even talking about light pole heights. That's not a change. We have agreed at minimum that the lights will remain off from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. That's not an issue either. So they came back with no changes. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Hello. Jennifer Metzger, we live at 7977 South 47th Street. So when we moved into our house, we didn't know what a wonderful treat we were getting being up against that land at the high school. We thank Franklin and everyone else for it every day, that it is just beautiful, dear, everything else. I am very appreciative of what Franklin has done with the public schools. My kids have both gone through the system, so we won't reap any benefit of this. Now, I like that Franklin is now taking more interest in some of the smaller things that don't always get noticed. Tennis, shop, the pool. My son was a techie kid, so to get a new auto shop is huge. I know that's not the issue today, but I appreciate that Franklin is looking at those things down the road and what an advantage it can be, because not every kid is going to play football. Not every kid is going to play softball or be a cheerleader. So I appreciate that Franklin is looking at doing those things for us. My big concerns will be safety, traffic. I live on 47th Street, and it is a raceway before and after school. That's going to change with that opened up. It's going to get even worse. In my opinion, a study would be warranted. There is an agreement already to protect the environment up at that hill. We're not going to be terribly affected with our trees coming down, but I do think that it will affect us downhill in the water drainage. What have we looked at with that? Have we studied taking all those trees out, all those roots, all that drainage system? What's going to happen to everybody's basements at the end of that hill? Because it already gets pretty sloppy wet down there. Franklin's kind of swampy, as most of you know. So those are really the big things, are the safety and the environment, and it's just the constant changes. Now, I voted for the referendum. I've been, every time one's come up to give more money to the schools, I'm all for it. But it's the last minute changes that get very frustrating. And I know that happens in projects and big things, but to rip out all those trees just really for a staging area is unfair and really negligent to the environment in the long run, rather than just the 3-year term of the project.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wishing to speak? Now I'm going to close. Well, thank you, Counselor. So what I was going to more explain was that then we are done for tonight. This will remain open, and it'll be again on August 21st. We will continue the public hearing. And do we need a motion to move this to the 21st, or we're just going to? Because that's what the staff recommendation was.
A motion to table.
Motion to table to the 21st. So is there a motion to continue on to August 21st? Mr. Leon.
Before we table this, is there an opportunity for the commission to discuss some of the matters that were brought up by the public, since we are simply postponing the public hearing?
Well, my thought was that we would push everything off till the 21st, but if you wish to speak on it, sure.
I do have some questions and comments. I can hold off if the rest of the commission wants to wait until then, but if there are some other questions, I'd like to have them tonight. So kind of getting.
In my opinion, then, Mr. Leon, go ahead, you've got the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So one quick thing, I believe the coach didn't give an address when he spoke, but we can assume what 8222 South 51st Street would be the business address, correct?
No, I'm actually a Franklin.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just for the record, I guess, please ensure that we provided a business or a residential address. Couple other comments here. The listening session on Monday, the 4th. We do have another session on August the 13th. I do plan to be there at the district offices so that hopefully anybody who can attend that can address some of their concerns and give the full board and Mr. Cromie the opportunity to discuss some of the feedback that they received at that listening session that night. One of the things that I would ask, this is probably more to staff, but one of the residents tonight talked about speed bumps on 47th Street, whether that is something that could be considered as a mitigating factor for speed on 47th Street if this project advances, and from the sounds of it, maybe even if it doesn't, it could be appropriate. Again, you have the Assistant Superintendent for Operations here tonight listening to all the feedback. I'm sure, as usual, he's taking notes and will address those to the best visibility. And just a last comment, there were a couple of speakers who came and spoke in support of this. Obviously, the sentiment of the crowd, the residents, is opposed. I do thank everyone for maintaining respect for those differing opinions. It is important to do that, to hear other sides. And I think there were some well-spoken speakers who got to be heard. So thank you for that. And I will say, in full disclosure, 34 years ago, I went from the 28th ranked tennis player on the South Portland High School team to from the 29th to the 28th. And we did have tennis courts on site. I was not nearly as accomplished of a tennis player, but I say that in jest, although that's a true story. There clearly is a need for additional tennis court resources on site. I believe a couple of the speakers tonight discussed that and explained it better than I am now. I think that you have a good partner in the school district. That's probably not a popular opinion. But having seen previous applications come forward before this board and asking the district to go back, I believe that they take the comments from the public and do their best to mitigate those concerns. Not everything would be mitigatable. It is going to be the biggest impact on 47th Street. And the overall value to the community, I think we can find a good compromise, but it's not going to be perfect for everyone. So those are my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments at this point?
I have a question.
Alderman Salus?
My question is, as we tabling this issue to the 21st meeting, I'm just like wondering how soon could we get like the new revision out of the school system? I view reversing this protection of the conservancy as a huge deal, but at the same time, to help the cause of the school expansion, there might be some little wiggle room of minor adjustment. But at the same time, we don't want to receive the document the night before the meeting. We want to be able to ourselves digest, what is being proposed, so we can make righteous decision at the meeting. I'm just wondering if you have any answers on the timeline when we will get the document.
Well, if Mr. Cromie was wishing to comment on this, we would only ask that he come up to the front here. If not, if you have no further comment until August 13th, that would also be. Hopefully that works. Oh. Hopefully that's on, Andy. Not sure.
Try the red microphone.
Andy Cromie, Assistant Superintendent, Franklin Public Schools, 8222 South 51st Street. We will have updated plans submitted, I believe tomorrow morning to the city. So I don't know what the timeline is from the city receiving those to when you receive those, but our updated site plans will be there tomorrow.
Oh, that's great. That's all you got? Satisfactory.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to comment? No? Okay, good. So then we're going to close this out. We need a motion to table or continue till the 21st of August.
I'll make the motion to table till August 21st.
I'll second.
Seconded by,
Table.
what's that?
Yeah, just continue.
To continue until August 21st. We have a first,
Reading the motion.
we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, moving on to item D as in David, citizen comment period. Citizens may comment upon the business matters items set forth in this meeting agenda, which would be E as in Edward 1 and E as in Edward number 2. So, Ms. X, good evening and welcome. If you would like to read the E1
Citizen comment period, yeah.
on E1 and 2, okay. Citizen comment, thank you, Counselor. Say it one more time. One more time. Okay. Anybody wishing to speak on E item and enters items E Edward 1 or E Edward 2? Seeing no one, close citizen comment period. Ms. X?
Thank you, Mayor. Items E1 are, it's in fact two separate items that are before the commission for combined consideration as they relate to a single development proposal for the redevelopment of the southeast corner of the property that currently contains the Northwestern Mutual Life Franklin campus. So the address is 2710 West Drexel and also 1 and 2 Northwestern Mutual Way, and the applicant is actually Northwestern Mutual Life. The proposition before you is to split the lot in order to create a developable parcel for sale and development of a retail, of a proposed retail development, and also to amend our comprehensive master planned land use map to allow for a rezoning. So currently the property is zoned business park. The zoning uses that are allowed do not include retail. It's primarily meant for an office use, and the underlying land use is office only. So these are key decisions for you this evening to then enable that future development proposal. So I'll kind of walk through what's proposed this evening and then what is required to get to the full development proposal. But the applicant, Northwestern Mutual Life, is seeking to create a 2-lot certified survey map to create the new development parcel. So this proposal also includes a very small dedication. When 31st Street was put through, a portion of the property, NML retained ownership of what is a city road. And so they'll be giving that back to the city as part of this land division. And then the development lot is the southeast corner. So the existing building will not be affected by this, but there is some changes to the parking lot that is currently existing on the site. And so one of the recommended conditions of approval of the land division is that the applicants, Northwestern Mutual Life, apply for a site plan amendment so that we can evaluate those parking changes as part of the land division, but that would be then at the time of a site plan. So their site plan would be contingent on the site plan for the future development would be contingent on also NML appropriately amending their property so that it accounts for those changes to the lot. So this is the development concept. So it is a Costco. I know everyone's very excited about that. In order to get to the Costco, so the proposal before you this evening is the comprehensive master plan amendment. We're recommending that the amendment be to mixed use so that then allows for a rezoning to the mixed use zoning district as the base zoning for a planned unit development. Previously, we referred to these as PDDs, but it would be a custom zoning district. So the proposed Costco development, some of the standards that Costco develops under don't align with the mixed use requirements in terms of glazing and architectural standards. That's not currently what's before you this evening, but it does have an impact on how we're thinking about this. So I do want to point that out, that they need the PUD because the zoning is not a one-to-one alignment. So the proposed lot is 20 acres. There are some requirements that will be triggered by the land division, including revising conservation easements. There's existing conservation easements on the property that protect wetlands, woodland, and a few other things. And there's also a number of easements around things like stormwater ponds, which are going to be changing shape. And they will also, because of the zoning change, be required to then also provide buffer easements. There's a residential property immediately to the south that just here is where this retail use would then be abutting a residential use. So there are residences along 31st Street. Their new property line doesn't quite get to 31st Street. So technically we would not require a buffer yard, and there is existing buffering here. And then across the street is Oak Creek. So staff is recommending approval. The applicants are here if there are any specific questions, but broadly speaking, the applications meet the requirements of the zoning and of the comprehensive master plan. So we're recommending approval.
Thank you. I'll speak last. So I'll open this up to the commission at this time if anybody wishes to have Mr. Leone and Mr. Salus.
I can defer to the alder.
Yes, sir, Mr. Salus.
My question is, like with this parcel being discussed here, aside from the construction of the Costco facility, is there any left buildable land on the parcel that some apartments or anything could follow?
So the lot that will be created for Costco is only going to accommodate their development. The remaining NML property, I would have to look back at the development standards in terms of lot coverage, but a lot of what is remaining is either under a conservation easement or is otherwise kind of in use. So no, it would be then this area is for the most part
Yeah,
built
the
out.
reason I'm asking the question, because if there is like, we have to think in like kind of comprehensive manner, if there is like another pockets of land, prime for development, so we like to consider the whole thing. And I'm just like wondering, with the construction of this facility, is it going to kind of conflict with the existing ML facility? Is it gonna blend nicely? How do you?
So the commission will be seeing the site plan and the PUD application for this. The applicants have gone through a series of architectural reviews with planning already. There are requirements in the development ordinance that the architecture align to some extent with the existing building. This is a much more modern, and it's a Costco building, so it's going to look a little different, but you will get to see the site plan. The use is different, so the design is going to be different. Sorry, what was the other part of the question?
And like in terms of construction material, like is it going to be something like to complement the NML? That's like of course we don't have full plans yet, but just like a concern.
Again, that will be part of the site plan discussion, but yes, you'll get to see a material palette. It's the colors align, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Leone?
Thank you, Mayor. Probably getting ahead of myself here. But with that, you had another image up before. If we can pull that back up. No, that's not it.
Oops, sorry.
It's not it either. It showed the Costco with a lot. There we go. Thank you. I'm sure it's a site plan, but we had an
Conceptual.
Yeah, conceptual. We had an application here last year to do with a different development on the other side of 31st Street, and there was a lot of concern about traffic. So as I look at it, is there, in this concept, no access from 31st Street? Because what I'm concerned about is traffic on 31st Street for Costco. It looks like there's not.
It's just Drexel.
But I am sure that residents on 31st Street would have concern when we get to site plan about traffic on 31st Street. So just an observation now that I think that is addressed already.
Sure. So the applicants are in process on a TIA. The site itself, it meets our requirements in terms of frontage on city streets. There is an internal private road that is going to be part of the access plan. Their primary entrances is tended to be off of Drexel. But the TIA, I know the scope of it included 31st Street to sort of get at those questions. And so that information is pending, and we heard those concerns in that development and applied them forward. So, yep.
Okay. Yeah, again, I know it's coming, but that would be a big concern, anybody on 31st Street, to have a lot of increased traffic there. So just as they're going through the process, be cognizant of that.
Sure. And this is just in terms of land use here. Office uses are, the time of day is a little bit different, but the density of use is not necessarily that much different. So it's not one-to-one, but it would be, if this part of the lot were to develop under the current land use, it could potentially have a similar impact. So.
Alderwoman Day?
Thank you. I just have one quick question and then one comment I'll start with. And I haven't been involved in all of the meetings, but I've been involved in some with the city and with the developer and with Northwestern Mutual. And I just wanted to say thank you to both Northwestern Mutual and the Costco representatives for hearing the concerns that the city had about developing this parcel of land and doing what you could to meet those concerns with us. So I do appreciate all of that. The only question that I have, and again, this might be because I wasn't in all of the meetings, you mentioned, Ms. X, that there would need to be a site plan amendment for Northwestern Mutual with regard to the parking lot. Is that something that Northwestern Mutual is aware of and they're on board with, and they don't have any concerns about going through that process with us?
They haven't submitted an application yet. They understand that it would be moot to do it until this is recorded.
Absolutely.
But they are aware of the requirement, and I think they should be okay in terms of development standards. So.
And there's no concerns that you can think of with removing that portion of the parking for their business model, that they're going to be in need of any sort of extra parking or anything. I'm not sure with their transition plan if, all of that parking is needed long-term.
Yeah, it's difficult to say without the full site plan. It's not a huge number of parking spaces relative to the overall capacity of the site. So they might need a variance, but under the new ordinance, we also now have parking we removed the minimums and it's a maximum. So they might be compliant.
Because the amendment is happening now, would fall under the new UDO,
Correct.
not the previous one where they were actually built. Okay.
Yep.
I believe that are all of my questions. As far as we are in the process right now, I'm completely supportive and excited for this project to move forward.
Well, I'll speak last. Any other comments, concerns at this point? Okay, good. So this is an unbelievable opportunity for the city of Franklin. This will be the first one in the Milwaukee County, number one. This is a big, big deal that many other jurisdictions would love to have, would love to be the one that's being looked at and having this meeting right now. So we got to keep that in perspective. Number two is this moving forward, this is the first step moving forward. This has to get done, or else this project doesn't get done. But just think what's going to happen when this project, God willing, happens. The development from 27th and Drexel south, what that will bring, what that will spur that development. That'll give us the spark we need to really develop that area that has some blighted areas. It's got some areas that are embarrassing to our city. That's how bad they look. This is awesome. Excellent. And going south, which I was today, I did the inspection area from 27th and Ryan North. This is what we need to start getting that whole area developed. And I'll yield with that. Is there a motion, sir?
There are two items before you.
Ma'am?
Certified survey map. A motion to recommend approval of a resolution conditionally approving a two-lot certified survey map, being a redivision of a part of parcel 1 in certified survey map 7389 in the city of Franklin, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin.
I'll make the motion.
Second. First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Second motion.
Comprehensive Master Plan Amendment. A motion to adopt a resolution recommending the adoption of an ordinance to amend the City of Franklin 2025 Comprehensive Master Plan to change the City of Franklin 2025 future land use map for the property generally located on the northwest corner of South 27th Street and West Drexel Avenue, addressed as 2710 West Drexel Avenue 1 and number 2 Northwestern Mutual Way, from office use and areas of natural resources use to mixed use and areas of natural resource features.
Motion?
I'll second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. Going on to E as in Edward number 2. Regular, do you want to read the script?
Midland Commercial Development Certified Survey Map. Request to recommend approval of a certified survey map to create 2 commercial lots upon property located at 10001 West Church Street. So this is an application to split this lot that is located intersection of Lovers Lane Road and Church Street into 2 lots. Currently, it has a gas station. Sorry. So this is the proposed layout. So lot number 1 to the north will be the site for the existing gas station, and the lot number 2, it is for a future grocery store. That will be a separate application, site plan application. And there are also wetlands. This is the north will be to the right. There are also wetlands located on part of lot number 2. So any impact to this will be require a separate natural resource special exception application. So the application before you tonight, it's only for creating these 2 lots and a staff review for compliance with the new UDO, and is recommending approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the commission? Comments? Mr. City Attorney.
Where will the access to Lot 2 be?
Yeah, that will be to Lovers Lane Road. And that will require also approval by state DOT because it's under state jurisdiction.
Are you good with that? Motion, please.
A motion to recommend approval of a resolution conditionally approving a 2-lot certified survey map, being a revision of a certified survey map number 3990 in the city of Franklin, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin.
So moved.
Second. First and a second, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. 7:18 PM adjourned. Thank you.